Absolutely. And so how do we go about making that a casual thing with girlfriends? Like, where do you even start?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's a lot of people are afraid to have those conversations in their own personal circles. I mean, I'm always amazed that people will don a placard and go out and protest, but
Yep.
they're scared to have the conversation with the people in their own lives because it is personal and you
Yep.
step on toes, you don't want to disagree, so we kind of tiptoe around it. And I don't think it has to be confrontational. It doesn't have to be in your face, but I think, it's something that we have to tell ourselves we have to be willing to do in our circles and start by listening. I think that we're grappling now with a nation where people have stopped hearing each other.
Mm-hmm.
You're either on one side or another. You either agree with me or you're a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why we're in that place, because there are many ways to be an American. There are many ways to be a good person in the world. We just need to be able to talk about our differences in a way that isn't judgmental. And it starts with listening. So I would just say, you don't have to do anything formal. Instead of talking about politics, try talking about the issues because I
Yeah.
know girlfriends, stuff comes up all the time. Something as simple as childcare. Who has it? Who can afford it?
Yeah.
That's politics, healthcare. When you see, what happens with my girlfriends is when something falls apart in our lives, we start wondering, well, where did this come from?
Mm-hmm.
Why is my mother in a nursing home and I can't access her?
Yeah.
Why is my nephew not working? Or as Black moms,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a son or a child, you have to talk to them about the politics of getting through life.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we do that as girlfriends? So there are many,
Absolutely.
many topics that we all care about that do have a political edge. It's just when you call it politics, it makes it
Yep.
harder to do. So
Yep.
let's not call it politics. Let's call it issues. Let's call
Absolutely.
it concern.
That's so true. And we're always afraid that we're going to hear the wrong thing and feel some type of way. But sometimes hearing something that you don't agree with and opening yourself up to it is what creates the change. So I completely agree with that. Um, I guess at a time such as this, what gives you hope? I feel like, me as a Black woman, as a woman in general, looking to you as a strong woman, I would just love to know what gives you hope these days.
It's our kids. It always is. It
Yeah.
always has been. It's children. It's young people, because this as a mom with little kids. They come here unscarred, unscathed. They come here open and pure with all the possibility in the world. And every day they get a mark put on them by
Yeah.
society, by the world. And it can be a wonderful, it can be an affirming mark, but it also can be a debilitating mark.
Hmm.
And I think about it. I think about kids who grow up and learn to hate, kids who grow up and learn about fear. That's not who they are intrinsically. So when I get down or I start feeling frustrated or alienated, I just tell myself, our kids deserve better than that. As a mom, as a leader, as a person with a voice and a platform, we owe it to our kids to just keep fighting through some of this stuff. And the biggest way to fight through it is to vote. I
Hmm.
mean, we just don't have the luxury these days not to have our voices heard. I mean,
Yeah.
if everything were perfect, even still, we should still be engaged in the process because all these decisions that are happening now, how we deal with the environment, how we're dealing with jobs, how we're dealing with healthcare,
Yeah.
education, the affordability of college, whether our kids will even have access to any of this stuff,
Hmm.
these issues for them in years to come are being decided today. And I don't want to
Absolutely.
look my kids in the eye and tell them, oh, mom just couldn't be bothered. It was too hard, or I
Yeah.
didn't think it mattered. So it's kids that keep me motivated. Your little people, when I see
Yeah.
them growing up and I hear them talking and expressing themselves now, and they can't vote, and
No.
a lot of them know better. So we have to stand
Really do.
for them. You
Yeah,
know, that's what gives me hope.
absolutely.
What about you these days?
You know, I would have to agree with you, and I'm sure all of the parents out there agree with your sentiments as well. And I think it's so nice to know that you're we share that as parents. I think it's so special. It's true. I look at my kids every day and I hear the things that they're saying, and I realize, gosh, you are so much smarter than I was at your age. I feel like I'm doing something right. But I also feel like you know, they know how to research these days, and they're just so well educated already. And so that gives me hope. I mean, even looking at today, I was on Instagram and I saw Storm Reed. She's
Mhm.
17 and isn't can't vote yet, but she's pre-registered and was encouraging, you know, people her age to pre-register. That gives me tremendous hope. And I just think I think we're gonna start to see change
And
in society in general.
that's how change happens. You know, sometimes we get frustrated that they aren't these, vast sweeping changes, but
Yeah.
it's generation by generation.
Yeah.
And the kids who are out there now protesting for racial justice and equality, out there doing it, kids of all races and
Yeah.
all political backgrounds. Let's keep that in mind. They are the products of what they've seen in us.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
they are demanding something different than even we, and I'm much older than you, but they have seen a world that is open. They have access to each other's cultures, to each other's
Hmm.
way of thinking. We can't go backward because
No.
they have it. They don't want to live in a world where there's us and them, where they don't have access to the world. Our kids are
Yeah.
on social media. They see other cultures. They know that there are other ways to be human and to live life. We can't cut that off for them
Yeah.
now. And elections have a way of either allowing for further growth or pulling us backwards.
Hmm.
And we're seeing over the last few years how quickly, if we're not paying attention and we're not vigilant, we can get yanked back
Yeah.
from
Absolutely.
ways of being. And as I've said, I just think our kids deserve better than that.
They absolutely do. They absolutely do. I said through this time, if I felt anything, it really is hope, because I noticed even out at the marches, I it makes me realize there's so many people from so many different walks of life, and people are inherently good. They are
Mm.
inherently good, and so I know that the change is coming, and it's in its process. And that gives me hope and makes me excited for the future. So.
Well, I am proud